It's one of my favourite books. I said in the last video, I really, really enjoy it because I've always been fascinated with Greek myths. I've got tattoos of Greek myths, and well, not the title, like of Greek gods that that I relate to, or that I think are great, or I have a different meaning to them. And I think that people should know about the Greek myths, really. I think they're amazing. I'm more of one of those people that don't believe in a lot of like myths and those legends myself, but I love learning. Like, I even love learning about like different religions and those sorts of things, because I find that it's interesting to know other people's perspectives on things, and why they think what they think. And with me, I love the myths. I love Greek myths. I love Roman myths. I love the Egyptian gods. Anubis. I think they're great, and I would love to read those as well. So let me know what you think of this book. We'll get into reading it today, and hopefully we'll actually be reading the beginning, the last video. If you have watched it, great. If you haven't, you can go back and watch it, or don't worry about it. It's literally just an intro. I mean, I'm pretty rubbish at speaking anyway. This is why I do the whisper videos. I wouldn't ever do YouTube. I don't think, properly. I wouldn't want, to have that pressure of speaking with one, I guess, to speak in, my real tone or whatever, and, game or whatever it is. And I think it's nice, again, I've said this a few times, but, I've always had trouble sleeping, and I like to make these sort of videos, so, without me rambling too much, let's go on with it. Let's dive in and get reading. So this is Hope for Humankind. Let's just see if you're in shot. There we go. That's a bit better. I'm sure every shot is going to be wonky, so don't worry about it. Just maybe lie back. Don't listen. Don't listen and just watch the video. Mute. You don't have to watch. This is just there for the people that just want to I guess watch. I really am bad at talking. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, you can just lie back, listen to my voice, and we can go from there. And I will be reading and responding to comments, hopefully. So, we'll get on to it. Okay, so Hope for Humankind, the population of the earth. The gods were bored, proclaimed the ocean of time. It's all very well being immortal, but time does start to weigh heavily after a few dozen millennia. Each of them had his or her own provinces and powers. Aphrodite was the embodiment of sexual attraction, but she had long ago exhausted all the possibilities of fun among her fellow deities. Boredom isn't silliness, boredom is sameness. The gods' lives flowed on with endless monetary. No century was really any different from any other century, and there was no prospect that the next century would be any different from the last. They needed amusement, entertainment, but it wasn't just that. They found themselves longing even for opposition. Opposition would spark interest, create twists and knots in the smooth, unwinding yarn of the years. They decided to populate the earth. It'd be the great experiment. Perhaps this would give their lives meaning. If not, they skyscraper and attempt to start again. Zeus, king of the gods, enjoined his extended family to get busy. Fell to their task with relish. Before long, they have moulded all the creatures of the earth out of clay. Once all had their shapes, the gods gave Prometheus the job of equipping each species with its powers. Now Prometheus was a Titan, one of the elder gods who had been overthrown by Zeus and his fellow Olympians. The Titans, led by Zeus's father Cronus, had not given up without a struggle, but they had lost the war. Prometheus's brother Menoetius and Atlas had been severely punished. Menoetius cast down into the dungeons of Tartarus, and Atlas, the largest of the Titans, forced to carry on his shoulders the burden of the heavens for all eternity. But Prometheus had persuaded his mother, Thermis, the goddess of right and order, to side with Zeus during the war. And so he and his twin brother had escaped punishment and were living in the palace and high halls of Olympus, along with the other mortals. Prometheus was smart, his mind endlessly shimmering with ideas and schemes. His brother was quite the opposite. In fact, Epimetheus was average. He could carry out assigned tasks well enough, but lacked creativity and moved dully. He was inclined to make mistakes if left to his own devices, so Zeus gave the job of equipping the animal species to Prometheus. But Epimetheus was jealous. The names in this story are just crazy. When I've finished, you can inspect my work. You have the last say. Prometheus agreed on these terms, and then Prometheus set to work. Oh, I missed out. Prometheus was jealous. You get all the fun jobs, he complained. Let me have this one. And then we know where we are now. Apart from me, apparently. Prometheus agreed on these terms, and then Prometheus set to work. To some creatures he gave strength, but not speed. Others, those he left weaker, he made fleet of foot. Smaller ones were protected by their ability to take off into the air or burrow inside the earth. Large ones were protected by their sheer size. Some had tusks or claws, while others had thick hides to save them from tusks and claws. The outsiders were designed in various ways to shield them from the extremes of heat and cold to which they would be exposed. Their insides were designed to cope with all the various foodstuffs of the earth, with no species in danger of exhausting its supply. Some preferred the roots of other leaves or grass, and yet others had the blood and flesh of the weaker creature. But then the weaker creatures gain the boon of deep hiding places, and many offspring, while stronger ones produced fewer. Prometheus was pleased with his work. He had ensured the precipitation of all perpetration. I really shouldn't be reading this book. This is way too hard for me. Of all species, his masters would be delighted. But first, he had to satisfy his brother. And Prometheus was pleasantly surprised. His brother had indeed done a good job. He inspected all animal prototypes. Hearing Prometheus explain explanations, and all the animal prototypes hearing, and nodding in agreement. There, right at the end, there was the problem. Lost in the shadows and dust of a Prometheus workshop, Prometheus found a neglected clay form, naked with no hooves or claws, no speed or strength, no natural home for refuge, no ability to live well on raw food, no impenetrable hide, nothing. The lump of clay had nothing, but it was time. The day appointed by Zeus for the population of Earth was at hand. What about this one? What are your plans for it? Anyway, what is it? It's a human being, replied Prometheus, close to tears as he realized his foolish mistake. And I have no plans for it. I just forgot it. And now I've used up all the powers we're given. There's nothing there for it. Prometheus thought for a little while. Alright, there's nothing to be done now. Zeus wants the Earth populated right now, with all the species. And we'll just have to let this human fend for itself for a while. Meanwhile, I tried to think of something. And so, out of the gods' border, the Earth was populated with all animal species. The gods were truly delighted with their new toys. Every aspect of life on Earth came into existence on that day. Goodness was henceforth defined as whether the brief part danced by a creature on the Earth stage was pleasing in the gods' eyes. It amused the gods to remind their creatures in various ways who their masters were, and to test their goodness. Just when everything was going well, they would cause a flood or earthquake or famine or personal disaster. They devised more and more complex dances for their toys. Prometheus pondered ceaselessly the problem of what to do to ensure the survival of the human beings. He felt a strange kinship with these creatures, as though he had made them himself. He felt that he had the potential to reassemble himself and his brother to reach the same heights of brilliance and depth of criminal negligence. But as things were, their lives were little better than those of the dumb beasts around them. They soon learned to huddle together in caves to afford themselves some kind of protection rather than going out in search of food, one by one, but still wouldn't take long for the other creatures of the Earth to eliminate those defenceless men. As first measures them, Prometheus simply infested them with his own essence. It came like a bolt of lightning, illuminating the dark places. It came like the most beautiful dawn, rising up out of the sea. It came like a two-edged sword, dividing and yet forging the possibility of higher union. It was called intelligence, and with intelligence came speech. At first, the sounds they made were meaningless and confused, but they slowly developed articulate words. By agreeing among themselves which sounds stood, for which objects they established means by which they could communicate and pass on knowledge about the world, starting with their own safety. They began to develop rules to govern their behaviour, so that they could live together peacefully, without preying on one another. I'm just going to check something quickly. So what we'll do is we'll stop there, and then I will read. No, you know what? Yeah, we'll stop there, and then I'll try and read straight away when I next make the video. And I'll just put this as the intro part 1, and I'll put like chapter 1 part 1 or something like that. should we go from there? Page 5. You know what? I really am so slow at reading, but hopefully that gets better with this, and hopefully we can journey together with this book, and hopefully you are enjoying it. Please, again, like I say, please comment. Let me know what books you want me to read, or how you want me to, like, if you want me to just whisper, or whether you want me to raise my voice a little bit. Please let me know what you think, and have a lovely sleep. Have a good night, and speak soon.